Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us today. We are honored to be sitting down with Coach K. He's an avid trading and financial coach who's known for his go-to market strategies for early stage products. Thank you so much for joining us, Coach K.
Thanks for having me. It's nice to be here.
Here we are. It's the spring of 2021. And what is your read on the market?
Well, a lot of people are saying that we're about to have a pullback, right? And, I think that right now we're in a time where people don't know if they should or shouldn't have PTSD from 2018, where they're looking at a market and they're going, oh my God, it's irrational. And I think that, a market can be an irrational like it was in 2018, 2019, where it goes irrationally low and dips really, really hard out of nowhere, like when we were at 6,000 and went to 3. And I truly believe right now, a lot of people are looking for a reason for the market to correct, like to go bearish, basically, to start another bear market. And they're forgetting that we've only had 130% correction so far. So that being said and stated, yes, maybe we've had a couple smaller ones, but I think that we're just getting started. That April has been traditionally the best month in crypto pretty much ever. And the slow times that we've been seeing the last couple weeks, sometimes they feel fast, but it's kind of slowed down a bit for Bitcoin and for Ethereum, for DOT. They've kind of gone rangy. I think they're getting ready to spring load and to shoot up in April and over the summer. So I truly believe the market has 9 months, 10 months left. We're going to see similar stuff that we saw in the last bull run when it wound down. And I think there's a lot of money to be made. And the people that think it's irrational are going to be shocked how much more irrational we're going to get before the end of this cycle.
What are some of the leading indicators that you like to look at and are looking at currently?
Yeah. So from a fundamental perspective, there's a lot you can look at. You can look at how many ICOs are coming out. How well are those ICOs doing? We can look at how many new wallets are being created. How many people are holding one Bitcoin? How many people are holding Ethereum? Are there new wallets being added to Ethereum? So we can look at lots of data and make a good fundamental overview of what's going to happen from that side. Then I go for my technicals and I look at the chart, and then it gives me a clear picture. And so what I see from a charting perspective is that there's very few signs that we're going to get super bearish anytime soon. It's just, having right now, especially like the last couple of days, we're just having a nice small correction. And even if we went lower, that wouldn't bother me at all. So, I think this is a market which it's irrational right now, and there's a lot of emotion, but the stimulus, there's so many things. Like you could have 50 factors that I put in here, but the factors that are there are all really positive, right? We have a stimulus package, which is going to pump markets, which is good. We know that because we have a couple other samples from earlier in the year. So we've seen that. We know that they're printing more money. So more money is going into stuff that's not going to be cash. It's probably going to go into markets because people know the more money you print, the less valuable it becomes. We see that there's not really a retail FOMO yet. We've seen institutional FOMO. We've seen, MicroStrategy, and then we see Tesla, and then we hear about SpaceX. And now I've heard about, Google, and we know Apple's getting in with Apple Pay. And so Visa and MasterCard. So when you see these mass institutional pushes, but then you go and your mom still hasn't bought a Bitcoin for the first time, even though you're in crypto, or your brothers haven't, or, their friends haven't yet, then you know that we're not at that top yet. I told my mom today, you want to know my best top signal is when my mom's friends start telling her that they bought the first Bitcoin. That'll be a top signal for me, because those people are so against it, but they'll come in at the end for the FOMO push. We're not there yet. Even though we want to believe it, we're not. So that's like my view on where we're going. And I think we have a lot more to come. But yes, do wait for corrections and do take profit and buy the dip. That's what I would say. That's what I'm doing.
What's the state of ICOs?
Right now, depends on here's what I'm seeing with the ICOs. You have kind of like segments of you have they're kind of being categorized, I guess, if you put it per se. Like some of them are DeFi really focused, some of them are NFT focused, some of them are Oracle focused. So we're kind of seeing compartmentalization within the market. We're not seeing Bitcoin dump dump everything else. I mean, really indicative recently, that dump from 60K back to 54. Alts were still tough, man. Ethernity was still going up. Cellframe was still going up. FXF was going up. Mint was going up. So you look at all these projects, they're all going up, and you're going, well, Bitcoin went down, so there's not so much correlation. And so the state of ICOs right now are mania. Really, it comes down to the fact that if you're not in before everything's done, you're not going to get in. If you're not in before everything, like for example, you might get into a project or you be offered a project, but their deck won't be complete. Like this is the state of ICOs in this time, because everyone wants them so bad. And now you have these pools. You have Launch Pool, you have Polkastarter, you have Paid Ignition, you have Duckstarter, you have all these new ones popping up, BCS pad, BSC pad. And so with all those, you're gonna have immense competition to get in, and it's getting tulip mania bubbly feeling. But I think we have like many months to go, because there's still not a lot of new money coming in that's like retail. When you start seeing large amounts of people tell you about they're getting in Bitcoin, or you should get in Bitcoin, or do you know what Bitcoin is, and they're not scammers on the Telegram group, but they're actually people then you know that we're getting closer to that top, because that top will be a very quick ascension. And I think it'll be closer to $4 to $5 trillion, and it will be coming, in the next 8-9 months. And then we'll see a new bear market. It may not be as long a bear market as our last one, but we're definitely going to see another one probably in 2022, when all of this free money and printed money starts to actually affect not only the United States for printing it, but the whole entire world, especially third world countries, because they're going to feel that hyperinflation before the US will ever, because the US inflating their dollar screws over a lot of other countries that have a weak dollar, because it makes everyone's dollar weaker. And so we could see a state of hyperinflation is what I'm expecting across third world, second world countries. Or maybe not to say it like that, but developing countries, they're going to have a lot more, there's going to be a lot more barriers for them when the US dollar is weak than when the US dollar is strong, because a lot of them back off that US dollar too. You see that in Cambodia, which is close to Thailand, where I live, where they still have the Cambodian dollar, but they use the US dollar because it's more dominant. But what will happen now? And so these types of economic factors, and then we also have COVID and all these little factors, big factors come together. And, that's how I get my view and my picture. But in terms of ICOs, you almost can't go wrong. And I bet you still won't be able to go wrong for the next 4 months. But in 4 months from now, when you have a 12-month vesting, you will not want to go into those projects, because it will be close to the end and you won't have all your tokens before the actual bear market hits.
How have ICOs evolved since 2017?
I'll give it to you in a very short answer. ICOs evolved because they don't ask for more money than they need. They don't raise capital just to raise capital. They're not cash grabs. Most of them, there's always the scam ones, but most of them as a whole, the ones that we all would state are good, have strong teams with strong backgrounds in their fields. They have strong ideas, but their ideas aren't just ideas on a white paper like last time. Now you're seeing ideas like, with an actual concept, a proof of concept, or an MVP, or a working demo, or a fully working product that's already out there that they're tokenizing and doing right now. So you're seeing a lot of evolution, because the business side is mostly built on a lot of the projects. And then they actually build in the crypto side, because they actually say, hey, we have something that works. And now this is how our token economy will work. And you're starting to see a lot more creative ideas, new ways to use certain things, like smart contracts in different blockchains, speed, throughput. There's a ton of things that have changed for the better. And, I think that you're seeing maturity in the industry in terms of how people are, structuring products. At one point, though, I'm starting to feel a lot of the DeFi projects are copies of each other. They're getting to that point again. And we have to be a little bit careful of that.
Can you talk a little more about DeFi, how it burst onto the scene, and where it's led us today in terms of the projects starting to copy each other.
So okay, so we have DeFi projects from a multitude of areas, but really, what is DeFi letting you do? It's letting you lend and it's letting you borrow, right? And it's letting you do that in different types of ways, collateralized, right? So say you have, like, I'm an advisor for Splyt. So say you have a bunch of stock and you're not using it, but it's worth X amount. You can take a loan out on that stock. That's a really cool, creative use case to use DeFi. So we're starting to see creativity. We're starting to see people use NFTs in ways using DeFi, fractionalized ownership of things. So the state of DeFi, how it burst on the scene, is just it makes sense to people who are not from crypto. Like, that's traditional finance. They just added it in, in a decentralized way where everyone could participate, right? Where you could go and put, your USDC or USDT in a contract and actually earn profit more than in your bank, because your bank is actually doing what you're doing on the DeFi side, but they're making 99% of the spread. So DeFi basically is the equality for the world, for everyone to actually have a chance to earn something, from loaning or from borrowing, or getting their loan, or getting to borrow other people money and make something for it. You don't really get those opportunities before. So it's opened up this whole creative landscape of how can we use this to benefit, and actually expand the financial system, make it simpler, make it easier, make it less, it's really restricting. You live in Africa and you try to get a loan, man, just to go to the bank to get cash takes you a day. So, how long does it take to get a loan from the bank? So if you have DeFi and you're in Africa and you have an application where you can lend and borrow on your phone, that DeFi application opens up a heck of a lot more than just the ability to lend and borrow. It opens up the ability to actually start a business, to do tons of different things. And so that's where the DeFi side is really going to expand and bloom, is because we're taking what we normally would do in a very clunky, old, broken system. We're taking it to this new system, and we're finding creative ways to do things that we weren't doing before. You could never have, as a big company that sells TVs, 500 TVs in stock that are worth $100,000, let's say, and be able to take a $20,000 loan against those TVs, because you need to buy more stock of cell phones because there's a new iPhone coming out, and you need to have those ready for the new customers that come in. So this is the stuff that we're starting to see from DeFi in that realm, and the creativity of it. But at the same time, because, like I said at the start, DeFi is lending and borrowing. Well, the problem when it's only lending and borrowing is, how many different ways can we lend and borrow? Do we need to have 50 different ways? And are they the exact same? Or are they just copying the idea and then changing, changing the knob from 4 to 5 and being like it's different? So I felt like that's happening, but I also see stuff like projects like Unmarshall, for example, that have taken stuff that is already amazing, like the graph, but they're actually making it faster by compartmentalizing and putting, indexing all the blockchain data to find it faster, meaning the blockchain throughput data will be faster, meaning finding stuff on the blockchain will be faster. It's a use case that actually is useful. And stuff like that I think we're going to see evolve the space like immensely. So the state of the ICOs, or how is DeFi? I mean, they're kind of all in one, in my opinion. DeFi is leading the ICOs, and the NFT side is also kind of DeFi as well. A lot of the projects now, so they're all kind of intermingling, I guess. And now everyone's kind of trying to figure out whatever idea they can, getting to that 2017 feel, but the early 2017, mid 2017 feel. We're not there where it's mania, where like it's just insane, but it's coming, I think.
A lot of people are buying NFTs as an investment. Do the NFT focused ICOs offer the same sort of opportunities?
Personally, no, I don't think so. Like, listen, I love art, and I think that it's amazing that artists can actually get a chance to, display their skills and be rewarded for it for the first time. So this is something I love. And I mean, being an Anarchy X and being, one of the Ethernity's lead advisors, and really being very involved in the NFT space, and I've seen the good, the bad, the ugly, and honestly, like NFTs, the problem with a lot of them is they're just pictures. Some people just take a picture, put it on an NFT, and then sell it for 10 ETH. And some people actually pay that. And I think those types of people that pay 10 ETH for those NFTs that really shouldn't have value, they're just a photo and there's nothing special about it. There's no art, there's no creativity, there's nothing like memorable about that NFT for some memory that happened or anything. I don't think those ones long term will be lasting and make you money long term. But I do think the B pools and what Ethernity is doing, we're actually signing celebrities, right? All high class celebrities, A-list, B-list celebs, and not just celebrities, but like athletes and you name it. Basically, musicians, DJs, everything. So that brings in a new element because it brings retail that never maybe held crypto, but it also brings in really amazing artists like Bosch Logic, Mad Dog Jones, and gives them a place to actually air out their amazing work and work with some of the people that we all adore in society, or maybe we don't all adore, but some of them adore. And so I think that stuff is going to be that's why I was keen to work with that project. I literally had too much, and I actually worked with Ethernity anyways because of that, because I saw the value in that. Because it's like, if you got, let's put a Michael Jordan just as an example. If you got a Michael Jordan's first NFT that Michael Jordan endorsed and then tweeted about, it has value. That will stay valuable for a long time. People will be able to display that as art in their house on a display, like on a TV or whatever. So they can use that. That can be something valuable for them. But if Coach K goes and takes a picture of himself doing a podcast like we're doing right now and posts it on Rareables and says, yo, I'm doing a podcast, maybe that for some people that would have value. But personally, I don't see that being valuable. So NFTs are going to evolve. They're going to evolve out of just being collector's items, right? Or just buying like a trading card. We're gonna find new use cases, and I think we've just kind of just brushed the top of your head. There's still the sides and the back to go for NFTs. They haven't figured out ways to use them outside of Splyt, in my opinion. Haven't found ways to use NFTs outside of more collectors or creating something memorable that you can keep on that card, like a photo memory of something epic, like what we're doing with Muhammad Ali, right? So yeah, man, I really do like a lot of the other NFT projects too. Like, I'm an investor into Bondly and TVK. I really like Ecomi. So I'm a fan of a lot of the NFT projects, because I do believe, and I have been saying this since 2020, that NFTs would be booming Q1 2021. The writing was on the wall that this was going to be quite big. I don't know if it's big because of US tax restrictions, or because if it's a collectible, then you probably don't have to pay taxes on it. So there'll be some really creative stuff that comes out of it that way too.
Over the next 8 to 9 months, what are you expecting to see from ICOs, DeFi, and/or NFTs?
Good question. What I expect to see in the market in general, not even just about NFTs, but or anything, we're going to see the cycle that we saw last time, maybe with a smaller variance. But what we'll likely see, April, May, June, July, alt season, big time. Once July, August, September comes, we'll have a dip in those couple months. Maybe August, September, around that time, we'll have a good size correction for the last FOMO rally of retail, which will come in at the end of the year. And that will be the really big, huge, straight line up, which no one expected to put us over 100K. You know what I mean? But what I'm expecting to see is alts have an alt season, Bitcoin to then take over around September, August, September, Bitcoin take over, increase the dominance again, have that FOMO push. When Bitcoin tops out, it will start to correct. Alts will have a last mini alt season in probably the end of December, start of January. And then February, March, we'll start to see like the market kind of turn. March, it'll go back up or down a little bit. April will come back up. And then you'll see into the summer next year will be the bear market starting. Like you'll feel it, and people have held, they'll be like, oh my God, I held. That's going to come again. And so that's why I was saying earlier that when you're looking at ICOs right now, it is a little bit of a mania. I do believe we're still going to continue that mania, and we're still going to see crazy gains even into December. But be very careful when you're watching those ICOs and you're looking to invest in those ICOs, that if you're locked up in a private sale, you don't get locked up into a private sale that you go into in September and you have to wait 12 months for all your tokens, because by next September, those tokens may be worth almost nothing, like it was last time we had the ICO boom. And then we had at the end, they still were really popular, but they taper off. So we have to be very careful and cognizant, because ICOs in 2018, from February to March to April, the amount of of people that were actually doing them decreased like 50-60%. I think it was something along those lines. So if you know that cycles always happen, 4-year cycles happen in all the markets, you have to understand that it's not going to only go up. So you have to use risk capital, you have to use risk management, you have to take profit, and you have to know when things look bearish to get out of the market. And you have 9, 10, maybe 11 months if you're lucky. So focus now, because these ICOs are not going to be bullish forever. And if you're someone who can't get into those private sales that's listening, being in public sales is honestly really great if you can get in them, because you get 100% of your tokens. So your risk is a lot less than people that are going to take those seed rounds later in the year.
What is leading you to have such a bullish outlook for the next 8 to 9 months?
Basically, I've done a lot of analysis on previous cycles of Bitcoin, and they almost always follow, not exactly, but very close to what they did the time before. And now we haven't had too many Bitcoin cycles, I know, but I've been a part of 3 bear markets, basically. I guess you can call 3, maybe 2 full bear markets. But what I can tell you is this is going to happen again. And it's not going to happen in a time where people have just been given free money from the government. They've been printing money like crazy. People know that, basically that the value of their dollar last year lost 22 cents to the dollar because they printed that much extra US dollars, right? That people that got woke up to Bitcoin know that they put it in Bitcoin, it won't lose value the same way a dollar will, because you can't print more Bitcoin. And they also see the supply demand issue where exchanges have less and less Bitcoin. Institutional buyers like Tesla and Google and Apple and all these major players that are buying up the supply know that there's only a certain amount of supply and know that they have to get their hands on it, and they're bullish on it. So and then you have Morgan Stanley recently who's going to open up, and then you have Visa who recently said they're going to open it up to crypto. So if you have all these people opening up to crypto, if you're not bullish, then you don't have a good nose for where the money's going. Honestly, good traders follow money. They follow volume. They follow where the money's going, money flow. If it's going into something, you go with it. If you see big players doing something, you go with them. If you see a bunch of whales talking about buying a coin, you go into that coin if you know they're going into that coin. Why? Because when their money's going somewhere, that's usually where it's going to go up. And so if you're someone who's smart and doesn't use emotion and want to be right and care about being right all the time, but actually look where the money's flowing, then you know when to be bullish and when to be bearish. Sometimes I'm short-term bearish. Sometimes I see a correction coming, and I say it very, very openly. That doesn't mean that I think I'm bearish. But when I say I'm bearish, macro bearish, meaning like high time frame, like daily charts, if I'm bearish on a daily chart, that means we're probably going to have a bear market, or we're going to either have a fake out or a bear market at that point until I have confirmation. And that I don't say that very often. I say that when we're actually bearish. So I said when we were getting bullish around October, I said at the start of October that we're going to have the bull market's going to start in the middle of October. And everyone was like, how do you know that? And I was like, just all the data points pointed me to that. And so I was and before that, everyone was saying, oh, coach, you keep saying to go short here and then go long here. Like, how come you just don't stay bullish? And there was reasons why I should go short there or not. But now there's no reason to go short. You're actually, You're playing a game that you could probably lose more often than you win in a bull market. So just play it safe, make good investments. Don't trade with too much leverage and stuff in a volatile market, and just be smart.
What happens after these next 8 to 9 months?
Basically, the same thing that happened if you haven't been here in 2018, 2019. Basically, what's going to happen, 2022 will start. It'll start normal. January will be fine. It won't look horrible. February won't look horrible. March will be a bad month, very likely. And then April will be a good month, like it always is. And then you'll start to see it get more and more bearish through summer. And then by the end of the year, it'll get more and more bearish to the end of the year. Kind of like what we saw, where we're used to the end of the year being bullish at the end of the cycle. You should also, the first winter after a bull market, when in December goes crazy, the next December generally don't do well. So by that point, I would expect that we would have a very bearish outlook. And honestly, because institutions have been buying up so much, I don't think our bear market next time will be as bad as the one before. I think that was probably going to be the worst of the bear markets that we have, because people woke up to why Bitcoin, right? It's not because it's going to go up in value. It's because you can't print more. So it will go up in value is irrelevant. It's the fact you can't make more, so you can't devalue it, whereas everything else can be devalued. And the more and more people that wake up to that just hold it as a part of their portfolio, it'll be harder and harder for everyone to hold it. You got to remember, and this is why I always tell people, there are more millionaires, almost double the amount of millionaires. Probably with crypto this cycle, there'll be more than 2 times the amount of millionaires that can hold one Bitcoin than they could. So basically, there's about 60 or something like that, or 50 million millionaires or something like that. And there's only 18.5 million tokens, Bitcoin coins that are out there, and another 100 years for the last 3 million or so. So we look at all the data and you go, well, if someone like MicroStrategy is buying 100,000 tokens, that's a lot. And if they're not planning to sell those tokens, so we can look at those points and we get a really good, clear outlook of, yes, we're going to get bearish. Yes, some people will sell. Yes, the market will come back maybe from 100K all the way back to 25 or 30K. And then we'll bounce, and then we'll have another bull market. And I think the next bull market, not this one, but the next one, will be the actual the transformation of when we go from, stocks and stuff to completely digitized everything. Everything will be tokenized. So that's what I'm expecting for by the next end of the next cycle. So about 4 years, 2025, 2026, I think that's where we're going to head up. And that's where the countries are also going to go. They're going to go digital as well.
You spent tens of thousands of hours looking at charts. Obviously, it's what has given you the ability to see the future in crypto markets. For those who are perhaps familiar with crypto, but not so much with trading, where can they start in order to become an oracle like you?
Basically, you go to university, and what do? You pay tuition. What do you do as a trader? You go to trade and you pay tuition. What do I mean by that? You have to learn what doesn't work by losing money. That's your tuition. As you learn how to be a better trader, how to be a better risk manager, how to be better at taking profit, how to be better at, this is the most important one, how to master your own emotion. How do I stay really chill when I see a trade going bad, but it's still in my parameters? And if I would look at that trade again, would I go into it and I would say yes? And my stop loss would be in the same place and I say yes? Well, I shouldn't be sweating about that trade, should I? But that's emotion. Like every trade you go in, you shouldn't even care. You should look at it and go, oh yeah, I put my risk. My risk is 1%. If I lose it, that's just one trade. No big deal. I have a risk reward ratio of 3-1. So if I lose a trade, when I win a trade, I can lose 2 trades and break even still. So I'm doing pretty good. I literally have to hit 30-40% and I'm still breaking even. So that's pretty good. So I don't have to be the best trader in the world. And I think that's the key, is you don't have to be right all the time. You have to admit when you're wrong and take profit and then cut losses very quickly. Some of the best traders that I know, when I was learning and, getting better at my craft, was they just kept telling me, Joel, the most important thing is when you're wrong, just admit you're wrong. And that's a hard thing for humans to do. We always want to be right. So if you want to be wrong, if you see like this trade is going bad, this is invalidated, and you're watching that trade still, you need to cut that trade. You need to have cut out early. You need to plan it. You need to do all of that. And the way you get better at it is by watching charts and by actually learning one strategy, not watching 45 people on Twitter, not watching 30 mentors, watching one person maybe is enough if they're good, and let them mentor you. Let them give you their course. I have a course, so a lot of people have taken my course, come under and learned how to trade the way I trade, so they understand when I'm telling them, hey, there's a Keynesian bounce here. Do you guys see it too? Yes. Okay, well, now they know what to look for. Now they know the checks on the checklist. So I make it very segmented, very, like almost like a computer. Like, does it do this? Yes. Does it do that? Yes. Does it do this? Yes. Okay, go in the trade. So, and I have a bunch of confluence factors to look for as well. So that comes over time because you'll start seeing by writing in a notebook things that work. I think the biggest mistake by traders of all time is they just don't write down anything. They don't write down their trades. They don't write down why they made in that trade. They don't write down what the market looked like on that day, how they felt. So if you start learning, I go into certain trades and they're having a very high hit rate, you start looking for those trades more. If you start learning that some of your trades that you thought were good trades, but you're only getting a 50% hit rate, maybe you could focus on the ones that are hitting 60 to 70% of the time and you'll be more successful. So I think it's just building a real nice, secure system that you're going to have drawdown. There's not always going to win. You're going to have time. You're going to have at least 1 month a year, even if you're an amazing trader where you lose. And that's okay too. So you have to just build a strategy, make it really computer, like really segmented. This is this, I go in, this, I go out. This is, I don't go in the trade. This is why I go in, why I don't. And I think having a plan is the key. So I know I ran on a lot about that, but I think it's really important. And it's something that it's a loaded question. Ask someone, how do you become so astute as a trader? Because it's so many different things from fundamentals and from the technical side, because it's not just the chart. If you know the chart's telling you something and then you hear there's some big news coming out, those things can work even to amplify your results as well. So it's a really loaded question. It's something that you find yourself. My strategy doesn't work for everybody. Their strategies don't always work for me, but you find what works for you that you're comfortable with, and that will make you a much better trader. And then you just stick to that strategy and don't veer off, and don't listen to, BitLord when he talks about something on there and he's really bullish, and just buy because he's bullish, because you're emotional, because he's telling you to buy. Have a real plan. And once you do that, you're going to be like, holy crap, I'm hitting 50% more trades than I was before, because you're not emotional. You're not watching them all the time. And yeah, so hard question to answer, but I guess that's the best way I can.
You mentioned a Keynesian bounce, correct?
A Keynesian bounce, yeah.
What is a Keynesian bounce?
So a Keynesian bounce is in the Ichimoku trading system. So the Ichimoku has a Kijin, it has a Tenkin, it has a Chiku span. And these are they act as support and resistance. Basically, everything in trading is either about support or resistance. Support means that if the price comes to that level, it will bounce off that level and go higher. Resistance is if it goes too high to that level. It's like at the top of the jump off of a trampoline. You get to the top and then you slam back down and go to the bottom again. So it's kind of like that. So every system has those as the baseline. You don't need to use Ichimoku. I just do because it works really well with everything else that I have in my system. So a Keynesian bounce is basically you're above the it's hard to explain with everyone being able to understand, but basically it is a bullish trade, which we think it will bounce, which we think the price will come down to a certain level, which is the Keynesian is a 50% retrace level all the time. So it comes down to that level and usually bounces from that level. And when it does bounce from that level, and your Chiku span's bullish and you're above the cloud and your TK cross is bullish, you have all these factors that are saying to go in. I also use a 21-day EMA. So if we're above that, that's also a good thing. If it's hooked up, it's even better. I use also the 200-day EMA, the 100-day EMA, and I use those concurrently all together to give me a full picture. And that's basically my alpha, man. Like I think less is more in trading. And I learned that over time, the more you put on your chart, the less you do, like the worse you do. The more simple you keep it to see things the way they are, from the candlestick perspective, the better. And just go from support and resistance. A lot of my best trades, I literally have 4 lines on a chart. I see the levels of resistance and I just play the break of resistance in the retest. So, trading is as simple or as difficult as you want it. And that just depends on your personality and a lot of different things. But you learn what type of trader you are. So if I'm asking you right now, if you're sitting at home right now and you're going, am I a trader? The question you should ask is, if you are a trader and you're sitting at home and you're going, yeah, I am a trader, what kind of trader are you? How do you trade? Are you an intraday trader? Do you use EMAs? Do you trade off of, on Ichimoku system? Do you like BB? What type of trader are you? So for me, so people say, what type of trader are you? I'm a high time frame Ichimoku trader. I like the Ichimoku system. I like high time frame. It's less work. I don't have to trade 500 times a day, and it's simple. And I'm a really high hit rate from that. So figure out what works for you. I have friends that do algo trading. They're algo traders full time. They use mean reversion and a bunch of other things in their strategy, and they hit, 0.5% a day doing nothing, letting their algos do it. So figure out what type of trader you are, and then find a good mentor or someone who has a good course and learn first. Don't just go into trading and think you're going to FOMO and do really well. You might, but when it comes against you, you won't have the risk management set up to really actually do well. So learn from people that lost in 2018, 2019, take profit, have a system. If the market goes bad, you have a system in place to take profit or to stop out. You'll be fine.
What is the Ichimoku trading system?
So Ichimoku Hinko Hayo, it was developed by a Japanese man way back, I can't remember how many years ago because I haven't really studied that for a while, but he created this system, I think it was in the 1920s, and basically it was for stock trading. And it's been used ever since. It's a system that really it's called the Ichimoku Hinko Hayo. Stands for a one glance view of the market, meaning that when you look at the Ichimoku on a chart, it gives you all you need, all the indicators all in one. So the cloud tells you whether you're bullish or bearish or you're neutral, right? If you're above the cloud, you're bullish. If you're below the cloud, you're bearish. If you're in the cloud, you're neutral, right? You have the TK crosses. We have a Tenkin, which is a faster moving EMA basically. And you have a Kijin, which is a slower moving EMA. And the Kijin basically is all the time at a 50% retrace level. Okay, so keep it like that. And then basically, if your Tenkin is above your Kijin, it's bullish. If you're below, it's bearish, right? And so it makes it a really simple way to look at the market and go, okay, this is bullish, this is bullish, this is bullish. So the market's bullish. The Chiku span's bullish. Our Tenkin is above our Kijin, it's bullish, and we're above the cloud. So that's all bullish. So what type of trade am I looking for? I'm looking for bullish trades, right? And if we're below the cloud and we have a bearish TK cross and the Chiku span is below the candlesticks, now I know I'm looking for bearish trades, right? So it makes it really simple for you to make your decisions. And also what it does is it says, oh, I think there's a good trade, but no, we're in the cloud right now. And the cloud is like being in a plane with turbulence moving up and down. And you're like, might get in an accident and you might fall out of your seat, whatever. And you don't like being in turbulence. So you don't trade in turbulence. So you don't trade when you're in the cloud. So it keeps it really simple from the very basic overview. And so when you're scanning through your charts, you can see what it is before you really have to look and spend a lot of time to see. You already know, okay, we're bullish. Okay, we're bearish. Okay, it's probably not ready yet, but I'm looking for this to break out of the cloud, because when it breaks out of the cloud, that's a Kijin break or Kumo breakout, and that might be a really good opportunity for a trade on a bull side. So I know it's a really hard thing to explain in an audio because it's hard to visualize for a lot of people. But I do have a website, academictrading.com, guys, if you want to check it out. I have courses there, and there's quizzes. There's a course pack. I used to be an educator before I was in crypto, so I think about the curriculum of how people learn. And I mean, everyone that's taken it, I have a few hundred people have taken it so far. I've said it's been very, very helpful for them, made them much more confident. And yeah, that's the place to start. I spent a few $1,000s on myself to learn how to trade properly, and get courses, and spent a couple hours with a mentor, and it helped. So you can do the same thing. You don't always need a mentor, and there's a lot of free stuff online too. The reason why I did my course is finding free stuff online takes a lot of time, and it can be really compartmentalized and segmented in the wrong segments. And so when you're learning all over the place, and you don't really grasp the concepts that well. So that's why when I was learning, I felt that it was really very like all over the place. So I took what I learned over time, and all the things that I was understanding and learning over the like last 5-6 years, where I really focused on that, and took it and put into a course which is spoon fed, so you can understand piece by piece, and they all connect together like Lego at the end. And it's like, oh, it all makes sense.
What are your favorite crypto trading tools? What are the best websites or tools that you use to keep a pulse on the market?
Yeah, so I mean, there's obviously Skew. Skew is a pretty cool. You can get heat maps on Skew. You can get a bunch of data about things that are happening on exchanges. I like the Crypto Quant. That guy's got some pretty cool charts and some really interesting ways of viewing data, like wallets and all different types of stuff. So that's a really good fundamental tool for data analysis that you can use. I use TradingView for my trading setups. There are other charts like Sierra charts and Atlas and other ones. I just find for crypto, if you're trading crypto and you trade gold and other assets, it has it all already. So TradingView is a decent option, not too expensive. And then other than that, I Dex tools, if you're someone who is trading Uniswap, because you need to be able to see the chart, or ChartX. Those are good. These are all good trading tools that you can use. If you're someone who's in the DeFi, there's also the DeFi Pulse, so you can see like how much money is in DeFi, how much is under TVL as a whole, project by project, etc. And all these little things can help you, just as like little tools and tricks of the trade. Also, like there's CoinMarketCap, but not many people talk about CoinMarketCal. CoinMarketCal basically is a great thing to just have on your daily, because it gives you all the daily updates from projects. And you can even get I think now they have an alert bot. So you can like say, hey, when certain projects have information that was released. So let's say they have like a new roadmap or an airdrop or anything, it will actually pop up and tell you. So it's a great place for fundamental information, just to find out what the projects are doing, if there's anything big happening. And sometimes big events generally lead to, very positive movement in price action. So if something big's coming, like a partnership or airdrop, maybe you would want to sell because free tokens, people might sell them. Or if you know that there's a new partnership that's big coming out. So those types of things can fundamentally give you a perspective of where the market might go as well. So those are the main tools that I can think of right now that I would use daily. There's probably other ones that I do use, but I'm really trying to keep it simple. And then obviously the best tool, this is something maybe most people don't talk about, is your network. So you can be as resourceful as you want, but having a lot of people around you that are in your network that share collective data, information, websites, like this stuff is probably the most pivotal part of crypto, is the friends you make. What they do obviously matters, but if you have friends that are involved in the space, involved with projects that are creative, that innovate, and kind of are always trying to think ahead of the game, one step or two steps ahead, these are the types of people you align with, because they'll have great information maybe you don't have, you'll have great information maybe they don't have. And that's the way a lot of the most important things get done, not just in crypto but in general. There's always that famous, it's not what you know, it's who you know. So I've always been big on people are amazing. I love people, and not only can they be your best friends, but they can be your biggest assets, and you can be their biggest assets too. So I guess ultimately find ways to add value to other people that you think would add value to you, have a symbiotic relationship, and you will guaranteed see the benefits from that.
How does one survive a crypto winter?
Really, the way you survive a crypto winter is as simple as this. You take profit when the market is green. If you got in a super farm, for example, and you have taken zero profit and you're up a 300x, you are someone who will be poor in a bear market. If you're someone who got into a project that's up 100% right now, like L Pool, and you got it in private and you have taken zero profit, you will lose all your money in a bear market. People who take their initial out of a project and put it into another project, and they have free money from the market, and they roll that free money into another project, into another trade, into another cryptocurrency, whatever it is, and they're rolling profits into other stuff, that's how you get to generational wealth. This is how I've turned 32 people in my Coach K Millionaires Club into millionaires, because I've taught them the way to think like someone who has money. You know, most of the people that I have in my group, they did not have a lot of money to start, but they became wealthy by having the mindset of, I'm going to take my initial out of my investments and I'm going to put them into the next one. And now they have 50 investments and almost every single one of them is in the positive, but they only started with, let's say, 5K, but they only put the 5K in the first project, took the 5K out of the first one, and then put 5K into the next one, then took 5K out of the next one and put in the next one, and you're rolling that, and then you're getting token releases every month, which are basically free capital or free tokens. Well, not free, you paid for them, but they're basically free because you've already taken your initial out, and they have no risk. So you're basically rolling no risk throughout the whole time. And if you do that, this is how you get rich. People think you get rich because many different ways, but this is the easiest way to get rich. If you want to make a lot of money in a short amount of time without having to do it get rich quick style, you make smart investments and you roll them into the others. Don't be the person in this bull market that makes the same mistake as the people in the last one and hold your coins and watch them come back down. Sell your initial. Then you have nothing to lose. Straight up. That's the best advice you'll ever hear. And it's the thing that most people don't do.
So we've sold the bull market. We are now on the moon. What next?
What's next in terms of what? Like, what's next for me? What's next for like people in the market? Like
Making moves. So once we hit this bear market in the next 8 to 11 months, it's
what
assuming,
should you do next?
Yep.
Basically, what should you do next? Here's what you should do next. Have you been working 18-hour days for a year and a half? By that point, probably. Maybe you should just enjoy your profits, right? Like, take a break, enjoy, put on a low leverage short on the market when it's not doing great, when it gets bearish, and go enjoy a pina colada on a beach somewhere, man. Like, relax, enjoy it. Guys, here's one thing you have to understand. We work nonstop, day on, day off, every single day. All the crypto people that you see, that you hear from and stuff, we work 15, 18-hour days every single day. Literally, there isn't a day off in crypto. So we work every day. Now, the question is, why? Well, bull markets are a lot shorter than bear markets. So when we're bullish, you make a lot of money in a short amount of time if you're smart about it. And if you're really smart, you take your profits and then you keep them and you put them into stuff like Yield App, into stuff like Nexo, right? You put it into something where it literally has very, very like a nice return, but low risk, and you can keep it there in a bear market. If it lasts a year, you make 10% on your capital that you have in USDT or USDC, something like that. That works. That's good. I will take that. And I will go and enjoy maybe traveling by that point because COVID hopefully will be over or something like that where, enjoy it because we'll have a bear market and then come, couple like 2.5 years from now, maybe 3 years from now, depending on the timing, we'll be in another bull market. Right. And then you're going to be working 18-hour days again. So I think it's like work hard and work smart. And then when we get bearish, yeah, take a short. We're going to be able to short all the crap coins. We couldn't do it last time because there wasn't the ability to short everything on futures like CZ has given us. So thank you, CZ, for that, and anyone else who's done it. So now we can short coins, crap coins, Bitcoin, whatever, and we don't have to go crazy. We could just leave a low leverage short, and go on vacation and relax. If Bitcoin goes bearish, we know it's going to keep going down. So just keep a nice low leverage short, or just sell some Bitcoin and wait, buy it back when it goes back to 20K, 25K, 30K, whatever it is when it gets back down to the bottom. So, and then the last thing I'll give you as a disclaimer is this is all subject to change based off of TA. So I could feel like this right now, but in a month from now, if we broke below the 21-week EMA on Bitcoin, I would turn bearish. So it really depends on not just fundamentals, but also what the chart tells me. So you have to be really unemotional, because if I'm really bullish, I can convince myself of things that aren't true. And people do this all the time. So you're like really bullish and you're like, all right, man, Bitcoin's never going to come down. But the reality is it is, right? So you can fake yourself out and you keep telling yourself this stuff, and eventually you believe that it will never come down. And when it comes down, you keep telling yourself it's not going to come down. For me, it's okay, when it breaks this level on a technical level, I will sell it. And when I sell it, if it goes up again, I don't care. I'll rebuy it. I'll lose a little bit of opportunity, but I won't lose my capital. And remember, capital preservation is number one always. So just keep that in mind, because any one of these influencers you're watching on YouTube, a lot of them, I would say like 90% of them flip every single day from bull to bear. I don't. I'm bullish when I'm bullish and I'm bearish when I'm bearish. But when I flip, it's for a technical reason that literally I can't emotionally or physically look at and say, I'm going to stay in this long because the market's bullish. I will know it's bearish. So I guess that's kind of, you have to have your breaking points and your red button when you push the red button type of situations, and know that and have that plan before we even get to that point.
Besides the price falling below the 21-day EMA, what other factors would it take to turn you bearish on the crypto markets?
Bitcoin would be the first one I'd look at, right? Because it's usually the one that goes first. And when it gets bearish, people put money into alts first, and then everything else gets bearish too. So what I would look at is the 21-week, 21-day EMA. I would be looking at the weekly and the daily Ichimoku. We'd be looking for, are we below the Kijin? Are we below the cloud? Is the Chiku span bearish, meaning that the lagging span is below the candlesticks from the previous periods? It's much easier if I showed you, but I can't. But I will do that maybe at some other time. But the point is that when I'm bearish, it's because we're below the cloud on the high time frame, and our Chiku is bearish, and we've had a bearish TK cross. We've gone through the cloud. So we're on the other side of the cloud, meaning that we've gone through that whole transition from a macro bull to a macro bear. So the cool thing about the Ichimoku in the cloud, when you always hear about people talking about the cloud, when you bust out of the cloud bullish on the top, it's great. You're actually going on a macro, you're switching a macro view of the market from bearish to bullish, right? When you go from the cloud from the top to the bottom and you go and pop out the bottom, you're changing your macro view to actually bearish. And when we're losing a daily chart, it's a very good indicator, because there's a lot of information in one candle. It's a whole day's information in the candle. So you get a really clean picture. Kind of like when you're a kid and you can use like really big Lego pieces, or you can make like one of those really hard Lego, Star Wars spaceships. If you're doing it simple, high time frame, it's like doing those huge Lego pieces at the mall you could build with your kid. It's really simple. And because you keep it simple, you're actually more profitable a lot of the time. So I think that's a really important for all of us to know. Keeping it simple is not just for business, it's for everything in life. The more simple you keep it, the less contingencies and things you put in place. That contingency is the wrong word. The less like stoppers you put in place, the better. You just have to have something really straightforward and simple and easy.
Sometimes we think we can get more done in a 24-hour day than we can. What projects are you hot on right now?
What projects am I not? Okay, so this is a loaded question
Particularly early
because
stage.
yeah, you're looking at like stuff that's not out yet. Are we looking at like stuff that's not hit the market? Are we looking at stuff that's currently trading on the market?
Whatever's top of mind.
Okay. So I'm really bullish on iOS, AIOZ. Team has been working on the project for I think it's 3 years. They have 30 engineers on their team. Very low raise amount that they raised, and their only competition is Theta. And with Theta hitting almost a $10 billion market cap recently, and them only starting with a $600,000 market cap, there's a lot of room for growth. And like I said, I don't really see Theta has any competition. So could be a really cool one. Another one that's really interesting I've talked about as well is collateral finance. So, the problem with buying a Lambo, if you're someone who's in crypto, is, getting the cash is a pain in the butt, right? So what they do is they let you collateralize your Bitcoin, give you the loan in cash, you keep your Bitcoin, right? And you just pay back the loan. Or if your Bitcoin, let's say, goes up to goes up 2x, you can actually you actually can keep your Bitcoin so you don't lose the Bitcoin you have, or Litecoin, or whatever coins they let you use. And so that way you can buy things. And it doesn't have to be a Lambo. It can be like a coffee. You can buy things very simply and easy, with collateral. And so, that's a really cool thing, because any of us that are in crypto that have a lot of crypto that would rather not go and spend the money twice to switch it and put it into US dollars or whatever currency locally, and then get that currency locally, and all those things have fees. This removes that and basically makes it simple, basically so you can spend a lot of money in crypto. So I love that concept. And those aren't out yet. So those are two to keep your eyes on. Another one that's coming out, which is honestly one of the most bullish projects from my fund manager friend's side that I've heard of. They all couldn't get in. There was a bunch that did, and there was a ton that didn't, and they were really salty about it. It's called Apron Network. They're a Web3 grant Polkadot project going for their parachain. I think it's going to be an extremely bullish project to keep your eyes on, and it should be out by the end of this month. So it's coming out soon. So those are ones that you should keep your eyes on that aren't out yet. So if you can get in a launch pad or any of that kind of stuff, definitely look for that. Things that are trading. I'm extremely bullish right now on Orbit Freeway token. The reason why is they have a lot of really cool stuff coming from their Orbitized hedge funds. And basically they have virtual hedge funds, which you'll be able to invest money into with guaranteed, well, not guaranteed, but almost you're getting it through a institutional grade fund. So basically you're getting access as a retail person, maybe with like 5 or 10K to fund level stuff, which is usually only available to people with 250 or 100,000, or $500,000 accounts. So this is really cool. And I think like the way that they're doing it with the network effect that they're going to create by rebuying that asset. So if you buy Apple stock on their network, the network fees, 80% of them buy more Apple stock and redistribute to all the people holding Apple stock on their network. So it has this really big network effect where if you hold, let's say Apple, and it goes up like, let's say 50% in a year, you can actually make like another 50% by just holding it because of all the people trading it and the fees coming back to every single person that's holding it. So really interesting project that it's undervalued and hasn't really mooned yet, in my opinion. Their last token release is in like 2 weeks, and then they have no more tokens coming out, meaning generally when there's no new tokens, there's no price suppression and things generally start to take off. So that's one to keep your eye on. I could talk about lots like Terra Virtua and Ethernity, obviously, two of the best and biggest NFT projects, as well as Super Farm. So yeah, I try not to shill too much because these are all projects that I put my money behind. So it's not like, and I'm holding them, I'm not dumping them or anything like that on people. They're just things that I'm really bullish on. Like I could give you lists and lists of projects that I really like. Will they all become the next big thing? I don't know. But my investment track record for this bull run so far, I've done 10 100x projects. It's insane for me to even think about. I've done 15 80x or above since we started this whole bull run. And, people think that I have a lens for this, and I just do my research. I invest in things that make sense to me. I look at them, and if it doesn't make sense, I won't go in. And basically, I look at the team, and I just make informed decisions a lot of the time based off their token model, because that's something that I have done for several very successful projects, and I kind of know what to look for.
What's next for Coach K?
My next mission, getting my millionaires club to 200 millionaires by the end of this bull run, is kind of my goal. I do it selflessly. I don't ask people to pay money or buy it. Like, basically, I did as a joke for the BitClout thing, tell people to buy my token, because when I open it up, this is a way for me to pick new people in, because they just support the BitClout token as something for fun. But yeah, I don't charge people anything to be in my group. Basically, they're just there, and I help them with mindset, with trading setups, with opportunities and private sales and stuff like that. And we support projects as a group, right? So, this is something I'm really passionate about. I really like, paying it forward and doing stuff for other people. And it's the reward of it. And I preach this a lot in my own group, that, do good for other people. It makes you feel better than just having a lot of money, and have your good head on your shoulders. Like, money is just there. If you get money in this bull run and you're rich and you've made it, don't let people know, I guess, in a way, and be humble about it. It's just money. So, I'm someone who's done extremely well for myself, and people are like, "What have you bought?" And I'm like, "I haven't even bought a car. I haven't bought a house. We haven't bought anything this whole bull run." And everyone's like, "Why?" And I'm like, "I don't know. I don't need it." You know what I mean? Like, I don't need new stuff. I'd rather focus on helping a bunch of other people and feeling good about it. So, that's what's next for me. I mean, probably continuing doing what I'm doing. Our trading, like academic trading is, not just trading courses, but it's also, trading systems and algo trading for high net worth individuals and funds. So I'll be doing that for probably the next 5 years for sure. And yeah, just continuing spreading the message, helping people, even if they're not, like, guys, if you're listening to this, you're like, "Please, coach, let me in. I don't have any more space." We will pick people randomly when the group gets, when people graduate to the Millionaires Club and are in the future Millionaires Club again. We'll increase that later. But yeah, it's something passionate. And honestly, if you guys follow me and you guys know, I'm really, like, I don't call tops. So, like, I called sharing at a 1.4, 1.5 cents, 1.6 cents. I really like to see other people do well. So even if you followed me on Twitter, there's a lot of people that do really well doing that too. So I'm not saying that I'm the number one person or only one you should follow. What I'm saying is, I won't give you crap, and I don't shill stuff and then dump on you and all that other stuff. I really actually, I'm here for the community, and I want to see a lot of people get to that point where they're financially free, so that, it's not just people with suits. We want everyone to have a chance, and I think that's my whole thing with crypto. It gives everybody a chance.
We've had the honor of sitting down today with Coach K. Thank you so much for joining us today, Coach K, and thank you everyone for listening.
Thanks a lot for having me. Appreciate it.